Greetings to all Pokemon manga fans. Welcome to the Pokemon Canon podcast, where we will discuss and analyze the Pokemon Manga Series, which chronicles the adventures of Trainer Red as he journeys across the region of Kanto to become a stronger trainer. On his adventure, Red catches Pokemon, collects gym badges, makes allies and enemies. Join us as we take a closer look at the overlooked origin story of Trainer Red and his Pokemon adventure. I am your host, SirSerrato.
And hi guys, I'm Daramu.
How's it going? It's Fleur.
All right, and this is the Pokemon Canon podcast.
All right, we are back on our podcast. It's been, a good 12 weeks since we've done our last episode?
I think so.
It's been a while. Yeah, Fleur, you weren't available for a couple of the last ones, right? When we got really busy during the holiday season?
Yes. Yeah. The holidays for us, yes, it starts in November, but in reality, it's more of like the last week of October or so.
Yeah, I think for all three of us, we all happen to have a job where it just gets really, really crazy during the holidays. And I know that you were just jam-packed at work. And it just got like really, really crazy. What about you, Daramu? What did you do during your holiday weekend? Your holiday break, I should say.
So went up to see my brother. For New Year's, we went ahead and did fireworks and drank. And then birthday didn't really do much. Anniversary didn't really do much. Kind of kept it chill. I just had more work, networking, and social obligations than I cared for during the holidays. So just kind of kept busy with all of that.
Yeah. So, your birthday lands like right around Christmas, right?
Yeah, I'm 7 days out from Christmas.
Yikes. I mean, that would only be annoying if like all your friends can only attend one kind of thing.
Oh, I don't throw a birthday party or anything. Yeah, I just don't want to.
Gotcha. Is it like because you don't like to level up, or is it you just don't like the attention or whatever?
Or both.
No, I just don't like my birthdays, so I just decide to kind of keep to myself.
That's fair.
Plus, I feel like as you get older, birthdays really don't feel like birthdays. They just feel like another day. And then all of a sudden, you're like a whole year older.
Yep. It just another wrinkle here and there.
Exactly.
What did you do during your holiday break, Fleur?
Worked a lot. We were extremely busy. But just like I just started to see what I want to go ahead and set myself as goals for the brand new year and stuff. So I did a little bit of that. And then one of those things is like I just like told you, reading more. So just picked up my first book of the year is Gunko. So I'm going to see how many books I'm able to go ahead and read throughout the month. And then eventually, get to, I really want to read just at least 50 books, in a year, which I think is pretty good. Yeah. In a year,
that sounds pretty obtainable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
because there's 52 weeks in a year. So.
Just make sure you can always count the books that we're reading as a book. Because technically you are reading
but those you read in like 2 seconds.
Well,
but just to expand my vocabulary as it used to be. I feel like with work and stuff, I let go of a lot of hobbies, and I would like to go ahead and just pick up at least one.
Yeah.
So
during my holiday break, I actually had a lot of fun. I went on my very first ever cruise. And I ended up going on 2 cruises back to back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was like 3 weeks apart from one another. That was a lot of fun. It was my first time ever on a cruise. I had a lot of fun. We almost missed getting back on the ship when we were in Honduras. So we had to haul ass to like get back on the ship, and people were actually rooting for us. So
oh my God.
The person I went with was pretty upset about that, and I was like, whatever, we have a fan base now, people like freaking love us. And like on the ship they were like, hey, weren't you the guys that were running to the ship? I'm like, yeah, that was us. That was us. What else did I do this holiday break? So the biggest thing was that I was really upset because I couldn't get tickets to Taylor Swift. The Eras tour. So for anyone listening to this podcast in the year 2000 and I don't know 37 or something, this was recorded during the whole around the time of the whole Taylor Swift the Eras tour fiasco where she took down Ticketmaster, hopefully. And then also the other big thing that happened during this holiday break, well, two of them. One of them is that Pokemon, I forgot their names.
Violet.
Yes, those two, Scarlet and Violet, came out. So I think a lot of us spent a lot of the holiday season playing those games.
Dude, I'm
still playing those games. Yeah, same.
I've been nonstop since it came out.
Especially like late at night when I get home from work, which is when I really have the time. So it's like 3 a.m, and sometimes Daramu like pops up.
Yeah. So I noticed that during the holiday break, our chat room got a lot more active. The one that we have on Facebook, because we have like a really cool chat room with all the Houston LGBT Pokemon players, and it got really active during the holiday season. And I'm kind of hoping it stays that way because that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I've noticed that with games like this, like when people ask for a trade or if they ask to battle or anything, if you're not quick to respond, it really kills the game really quickly. So I've been trying really hard to like anytime anyone needs something or needed a quick trade, just to help them out as quickly as I can because I don't want the momentum to die.
See, guys, Daramu gives so much to the community of the Pokemon base. And then I think the other thing worth noting that happened during this break, the biggest news in Pokemon in a very long time. 25 years coming. I personally don't give a rat's ass. Because I'm like, fuck Ash, I do not care. But there were a lot of people that were really upset. So once again, if you're listening to us in the year 3000, this is recorded when they had announced that Ash is leaving Pokemon, the series. And his final episodes, as of right now, as of this recording, have not aired yet. So I know people were talking a lot about that. People were really upset. People were like so heartbroken. And I'm over here like, I didn't know you guys still watch Pokemon. I'm kind of shocked to hear this. But okay, sure, whatever. So just to be a little more optimistic, were either of you upset about learning that Ash is leaving?
Yes, to an extent, I guess. It's like having him be let go, if you will, is literally like the ending of
an era,
a lot of people's childhood.
Yeah,
not just an era, people's childhood. You know,
I can see
like watching it on the WB when it was the WB at the CW. You know, exactly. So it's like one of those 90s shows that really impacted a lot of people that otherwise would just be stuck with like having Star Wars all the time. So
what about you, Daramu?
So it's like a sentimental type thing.
I agree with that. The sentimental part of it, yes.
Yeah. It honestly didn't really bug me.
Either.
Like the tournament leading up to the announcement, there were highs and lows for me. I think Diantha should have did better. I don't like that Ash beat Cynthia because I just don't think that's statistically possible.
Oh, it's really not. I agree with that 100%.
Did you watch that fight though?
Yes.
Okay, 2 major moments. When she did Drag Down or Destiny Bond, and you see that Spiritomb grab that Pikachu and just beat it on the floor, I was like,
there's no way it's picking up. Yeah. I was like, there's no way it's getting back up. And then all of a sudden,
that rat to hell.
Exactly. No.
See, now I feel back.
I feel like it's one of those. It's like when people watch like a soccer game or well, specifically like soccer games, especially since the World Cup the cup just finished or whatever.
Yeah.
But when they're like, oh, the refs were bought. The refs were bought. In that moment, that's literally what I thought. Like, there's no way.
Well,
There's no way.
did you watch the Cynthia and Iris fight?
I did not watch the Cynthia and Iris fight.
So the iconic moment in that one is Iris's Haxorus knocks the fuck out of Melodic. And Cynthia, being the queen she is, dead face. You see the Melodic fly behind her. She doesn't even turn around to check on it. She doesn't say a damn word. She just dead ass gazes at Iris like, I'm about to end you. So then she sends out her Garchomp, pulls out some lip gloss, does one of these numbers, bop, bop, turns it around. It's a Mega Stone, Mega Evolved Garchomp. It was the most iconic moment I'd ever seen.
My god.
Like, if there was a crowd in that stadium, you would know where the homosexuals were because they would be clapping.
Oh yeah, let me snapping, just snap.
Yeah.
She was a complete queen. All of her fights,
and just screaming a bunch of "Get it, girl!"
So to go back to the question, Ash's stuff meant nothing to me, and I felt like Cynthia was robbed.
I'm going to agree with you simply because I didn't care enough to watch the battle. So
you should go watch them. They're pretty interesting.
They're pretty good.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Is it on Netflix? Is it in English yet?
I think I did mine on YouTube because I was watching them as they were coming out. But like Deonta, for
example, should be on YouTube.
Yeah, it's definitely on YouTube.
There's some bits and pieces on TikTok as well.
Send me a link and I'll watch it just for the hell of it. So
yeah.
So for all of our listeners, this is kind of the idea of what happened during the holiday break and when this episode is recorded. So you have a pretty good idea. So we are kicking off book 2 with Goodbye to Ash. And I really don't care for Ash. We just never have. All right. So we're starting off with Act 1. So the TV guide synopsis. For this one, I put Red meets a young girl, Trainer Leaf, and soon learns that this damsel is anything but distressed. That is my TV guide synopsis. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, it's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
All right. So usually we do the recap, but because it was so long ago and we didn't do one for the last one, instead of doing a character recap, we're just gonna go like in a circle and just kind of like share what all we remember from the last book, not the last chapter, just the whole book in general. So I'll start off from what I remember. Pretty much the story starts off with Trainer Red when he is trying to capture it was a Mew, right? Or he finds a Mew.
He saw the Mew.
And Mew's battling the rival. And then we immediately meet the rival, green or blue, whatever you call them. I call them green, but we meet the rival. Their relationship is immediately set up. The two do not get along for the majority of the first book. They're pretty much just enemies. And throughout the course of the story, I remember that Ash catches some Pokemon. Primarily, the focus were Pikachu, Bulbasaur. He already had a Poliwhirl, and he catches Snorlax later on. And it's not until the very end that him and the rival actually finally become friends or allies, I guess, when they're forced to team up to protect Lavender Town. Those are like the bits and pieces that I remember specifically. Are there any points that you guys remember that you guys feel are worth mentioning for the recap?
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say specifically Team Rocket. Just because Team Rocket is so different than it's portrayed in the games, so different than it's portrayed in the show. Team Rocket and the gym leaders actually. So, they're actually not trying to fight your Pokemon. They're fighting you. They're sending their Pokemon out to hit you. It actually seems a lot more organized. It actually seems a lot more calculated. And
Josh SirSerrato.
Sorry, Alexa.
That's one thing that it's one thing that really stood out to me, and I've really enjoyed watching as we're reading through this.
Yeah, very good point. I do like, because like we talked about this extensively, how it really did change our perspective of Team Rocket in general, and a lot of it of the gym leaders. I know that we have ongoing
Mhm.
kind of discussion of which gym leaders we believe are going to be good and which ones we believe are going to be bad. So
Mhm.
going into the second book, I'm very excited for you guys to see how certain storylines play out. Fleur, which parts do you feel that are worth pointing out from the previous book?
Like you just said, which gym leaders are in the path of righteousness and which ones aren't. It's a
Yeah,
little bit of a twist, you know. It's very interesting to see Red as a very how do I put this? Like a very selfless kind of person, you know, for him not knowing anything outside of his single Pokemon at the beginning, his was it his Polyworld and stuff.
yeah,
So
Poliwhirl.
it's very interesting to see in that first book the development he's going through from the first interaction to the last interaction.
I do
And there is a little bit of a plot twist when that Arbok got, you know, cut
that
off, if
scene,
you will.
yeah. I do like how the characters of Red and the rival really do have a really solid character development in those what
Yes.
14 chapters or whatever. They do have a
Mm-hmm.
pretty solid way in which they're portrayed and how they grow, and I enjoyed that in the first book. So the reason why I am so excited for this book is because in this one we meet the new character. So
Mm-hmm.
just as you know, full disclosure, we already know that the rival, we call him the rival. There's a whole name issue. So the girl trainer, her name is Blue. In America, they call her Green. To avoid any issues, we'll be calling her Leaf. So we've got Red, the rival, and Leaf. And the reason we're calling her Leaf is because they actually call her Leaf in some of the video games. And they've done that as a way, not the video games. There's like a specific manga where they call her Leaf or something. And that was like their way of making
Distinguishing.
yeah, it's just kind of silly, but we're going to refer to her as Leaf just to avoid any issues. So we're going to call the rival Rival and the girl Leaf. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with the storyboard.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we open up a scene. Now, first of all, I don't know what that thing is called. Can you guys tell me what that's called? It's not a lighthouse.
So in the game, there were actually like little Pokestops, like not actual Poke Centers, but like little watchtowers where you could look through binoculars.
Watchtower. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. So that's what I thought it was like a watchtower because you found a lot of Professor Oak's aides in the
Yeah.
watchtowers.
One of them gives you like fly or something, doesn't he? Or like one of the HMs in there.
Yeah, one of
Yeah.
them gives you an HM, one of them gives you an experience share. Like they give you a lot of stuff depending on how many Pokemon you've caught, but you find most of the aides in the watchtowers.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I don't know why I could not think of Watchtower. So we open up in a scene in the Watchtower, and we see that there is someone in there, and they're humming and they're singing. The tune is like, I guess, doom de doom de doom. So you get the idea that they're a cutesy kind of like sweet character, or so we're supposed to believe. We see the girl. She's sitting there. She's looking out the window. She's holding a pair of binoculars. We see that from the binoculars, she is spying at Trainer Red. Trainer Red is standing over his Pokemon. He has a Bulbasaur. The Bulbasaur just beat a freaking Primate in the battle. I like how the girl, Leaf, looks over and she's just like, the unsuspecting fool. And then she snaps her finger. So we go into the next image. We see that Primate has been defeated in a battle. He's got those X's on the eyes and the little like anime thing that symbolizes pain or whatever. Now, this is the part that confuses me. Why is there steam coming out of him?
For
He's
Primate?
probably been sweating or something.
No,
Because
like,
doesn't he has a move Rage or something like that?
He does.
could that be
Yeah.
it?
That could be it, to be quite
Okay.
honest.
Because this part I never understood. Like, why does he have steam coming out? But I guess Rage does make sense. So after he gets defeated, Red is standing over him, and he notices that his Bulbasaur is beginning to tremble. He looks over, and we see the bulb on Bulbasaur's back begin to blossom. Immediately, Red pulls out his Pokedex to find out what's going on, and we see that the Bulbasaur has evolved into an Ivysaur. So we get the dun 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 dun. Red is very excited. He's super, ecstatic, over the moon over this. His Pokemon finally evolved, his starter Pokemon at that. From behind him, we see that somebody is clapping. When he turns around, we see the very interesting trainer Leaf. She's standing right behind him and she's cheering him on. She's so happy. She's being a little flirty. They drew a little heart as she's, I guess, winking to symbolize like the wink wink sound. She runs over across the little road to him. And she's just like, oh, congratulations to both of you. That was such a cool battle. I'm so excited to meet you. And she's a cute girl. She knows it. She's playing her cards to her advantage. She's making Red blush. Red is just kind of like, oh, yeah, I'm pretty cool. She's looking over and she just mentioned her Pokemon items. Pokemon items that apparently are meant to boost the Pokemon's abilities. She then pulls out all of the stuff that she has. She has all these weird things there. I mean, just on that image alone, I'm going to go with Daramu on this one because you're like a hardcore game player. Do those resemble any actual items from any of the actual games where you train your Pokemon?
So I looked at them pretty closely. They don't look like anything that you see in future games.
Nothing at all, right?
No.
Fleur, I don't know if you're like a competitive trainer. Do you recognize any of those?
No, at first I thought that she, on one of the items, it looks like a little crown, and I thought it'd be like the crown that you would use to evolve a Slowpoke into a Slowking.
Yeah, the King's.
But then after further, a King's Rock.
King's Rock, thank you. I was thinking King's Cross like Harry Potter, but King's Rock.
No, yeah. But then I looked at it closely and I was like, no, that's not what it looks like. It doesn't have like the pointy stuff all around.
Yeah.
But to an untrained eye, it would look like that.
See, what I like about this particular moment here in this chapter, in this image, is that if you are someone who is familiar with the actual Pokemon items, you probably weren't fooled by this. But yet, if you're someone that, like me, doesn't really care for competitive play, I was actually kind of fooled by these when I first read this.
Ouch.
Yeah, I know.
Play. Oh.
I know. That's my shameful confession of the day. So she tells him that she has all of these items, the power plant, they can enhance Pokemon's attacks, strength, abilities, and everything. She is trying to get Red to buy some of the stuff. He tells her that he is sure that they're great. He's just not interested. This is when she does the dreaded puppy eyes, which I think many of us have done at some point. She does the puppy eyes for him. She's trying to really convince him. He's blushing even harder. At this moment, she jumps up at him, and I guess she just shouts that it'll be like, what, 6,000, whatever currency that is in the Pokemon universe.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
In the next panel, we see that Red is walking away. He's very happy with his purchases. And right behind him, we see his 3 Pokemon, and they all have that resting bitch face that Daramu had when he was
lagging.
So before we started the podcast, Daramu was lagging and his face was like frozen. And that's kind of the same look that the Pokemon have. So Pikachu, I guess, hears something. He turns around. A pincer pops out of the bushes. Red, of course, always up for a battle, sends out his Pikachu to go battle this pincer. But he's like, wait, before you battle. He starts throwing on all of these items onto Pikachu, and he throws on the little crown. He throws on the wings. He throws on like a little, what is it, like an arrow from a bow and arrow. And I like how there's even like a little bell tied to Pikachu's tail. Now, did you guys ever watch Card Captor?
Mm-hmm.
Daramu, did you watch Card Captor?
It's on Netflix.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix, Card Captor Sakura.
The little wings that Pikachu has kind of reminds me of the wings that the Rock...
And her staff?
Yeah!
Mm-hmm.
You kind of see it?
Yeah,
Yeah, so
they're Hermes wings. Is what they're
yeah, it
called.
just made me think of I there you go. Something new every day. So then when Pikachu is sent out in battle wearing all of this, pimped out gear, swag and everything, the pincer comes
This is in
in.
an episode of like Pink My Ride or something.
Pimp my Pokemon.
Yeah.
So Pinsir like freaking, launches Pikachu into the air. At this, we see all of the items just come crashing down, and it's just this big old mess. This concludes the scene. We then open up in Celadon City. Sorry. Celadon City, where it's been some time afterwards. They're at a Pokemon Center. Red is standing over the counter with his poor Pikachu as he's handing him over to get his Pokemon re-energized. He's on the phone talking to Professor Oak. Professor Oak tells Red, "Dare I ask, how are you doing?" Of course, it's kind of funny because in the cartoon series, Professor Oak was always very like, what's the word? He had a lot of faith and trust in Ash, but he knew the odds were against him. So he was very well aware that Ash was kind of like a screw up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But in this one, I feel like, why does he say, "Dare I ask"? He already knows that Red is actually kind of cool. Like, Red is competent, He freaking saved Lavender Town in the last chapter. But,
Well, does he know that though?
I mean,
Because I think he hasn't really been checked. Because you got to think about it. Red isn't really around a Pokemon Center 24/7. So this is probably like the first call they've had in a while.
that's true. I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah.
So the professor probably doesn't even know what happened.
Yeah.
Because his first interaction with him was not the best. So,
Oh, no.
so I would probably respond the same.
Now, we're going to get into this one interesting thing about this one, and I'm glad you brought that up. So we'll bring that up later in the episode. So Red tells him or shows him that his Bulbasaur has evolved into an Ivysaur. Professor Oak mentions that the rival or his grandson's Charmander also evolved into Charmeleon, which shows that two of the three starters have already evolved. He then mentions that only leaves out Squirtle. So finally, we are being introduced to the starter of Squirtle. I like how in this one they finally explain the connection between the three starters of the Kanto region. How fire beats grass, grass beats water, water beats fire.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that we're finally learning that there is a trio of starters. And I like how Professor Oak pretty much just says that, yeah, it's three of them. He's been studying them, but one of them was stolen. So Red is kind of like, stolen? Like, how did that happen? Or more so before, he's like, well, if there's three of them, who has Squirtle? Because I have Bulbasaur. Douchebag over there has Charmander. Who has Squirtle? Little does he know, it's the bitch that has Squirtle. So at that, Red is kind of, ticked off. He's like, wow, everywhere it's all messed up. I'm dealing with these thieves who come in, romance me, and like take my money. And then Professor Oak is dealing with the Pokemon thief who kidnaps a Squirtle. Like, what kind of a world is this where all these evil people live or whatever? At that, as he's walking right behind him, he doesn't notice it, but the girl is right there, Trainer Leaf. She is having, I guess, like a going out of business sale. I don't know, like an extravaganza. She has this like towel or like a blanket or whatever. She has all her items and she's like, hurry, step right up. And people are like walking around, like actually gathering around her to buy the stuff. Now, my thing is, haven't we already established that there aren't many Pokemon trainers in the actual Pokemon universe aside from like a handful? So my thing is, she's kind of marketing to the wrong crowd. I mean, that's just what I kind of saw from that. So when Red sees her, he's like, "Oh, it's you!" So he recognizes her, and she's just like, "Oh, a repeat customer," which I just freaking love that line. So all the people are looking around. They know that something is going on. The girl, she starts to run away. Red is right behind her. He's right on her trail, following her to like bumper distance, I guess you would say. She
And
then,
like 10 feet away from her.
yeah, basically
You'd
10
say.
feet away. Like he's like on her ass, basically.
Like hot on her heels. He's hot on her heels.
He is, thank you. I like that expression. He is hot on her heels. So she ends up tossing a Pokeball into the water, and at this, we see a Wartortle. So it's revealed at this moment that she is, in fact, a Pokemon trainer. Red sees this and says, she has a Pokemon. And I like how she has like a handkerchief. Is that what it is? And she's like waving goodbye at him. It's just, I love that animation, that implication. He's looking around. He's really upset. He pulls out a Pokeball and he sends it out right after her. She is on her Wartortle skiing through the little lake or whatever when, boom, she collides with something, or her Wartortle does, and she's just sitting on the Wartortle. She falls back and she states, okay, who dumped a mattress on the... And when she looks over, it's Red's, big ass Snorlax, which is great because this is the first time that we see Snorlax since he caught him.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that we actually finally get to see Red using Snorlax because he was absent in the Lavender Town storyline.
I don't think he would fit in the Lavender Town storyline.
No, he wouldn't.
Just any of the building, he just crush it.
But it would have been nice if he would have been there.
Yeah.
But so she's like falling on the ground. She looks over and Red comes demanding, where are my 600 smackers? Now, I really love this part because she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. It's just, I did it because I really wanted to see you again. Like, she's just so deceiving about it. And I like how she jumps to hug him and he's just like, like he's not having it. And so I like this part where she's like, can you ever forgive me for playing a mean trick on you? And she does this like real mean girl, like look where they stick their tongues out. And then she does that typical anime thing where she's like lowering her eye and like doing the tongue.
Oh,
yeah. I just love when they do that. And I love how even though she's being like such a deceiving bitch to him, when she's facing him face to face, she's doing the puppy eyes and she has the tears. Like she's an actress. Like this girl is an actress, she puts on an act. And so she's so convincing that Red is like, oh, come on, please don't cry. Like his dumbass is falling for it. So she says, she's like, but I've been so bad. And then she goes, and I'm about to get worse. And she like pushes him and she sends out her Wartortle to attack. Wartortle sends out some sort of a bubble beam attack. And now this part for me, I don't fully understand. She's like shocked that it didn't really hit him or something.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's revealed that it's because he was being lifted up by a Snorlax. So he says something about you should be more careful before you try to outsmart a trainer with 2 badges. Like, watch out, we got a badass over here. So she says, "Phooey," and she starts running away. He tells her that he hopes his 6,000 was worth it. And then he commands his Snorlax to use this Mega Punch. This super powerful punching attack where he cracks open the ground. Leaf and Wartortle fall right through. They're falling down. And hopefully they'll be okay. We go to a commercial break. When we come back, we see that she's okay. She's just unconscious. She's unconsciously lying by a tree. Her and her Wartortle. Red is standing over her. And he crouches over her. He pulls out, I guess, her little bag that she, like a wallet that she had on a necklace chain. And this is when he sees her name. Now, of course, in the American one, it's printed green, but we know, like, her name, we're not going to get into all that politics, but he learns that this is Leaf. It's a trainer that he's been having an issue with. He then sees that her Pokemon is a Wartortle. Red puts 2 and 2 together and realizes that the same girl who conned him out of 6,000 whatever is the same person that stole the Squirtle from Professor Oak. So small world after all. Red, I guess, even though the Squirtle's stolen, he realizes like, well, the Squirtle's happy, so I'll just let it be. He goes away and he tells her like, you stay out of trouble now, and concluding his story there. Or so he thought. We then see that Leaf was only pretending to be unconscious. She was actually doing it on purpose. Some time goes by, I'm guessing it's later that night. Red is inside the Celadon Hotel. He is freaking out. He cannot find his badges. He is terrified, like, where are my badges? Where are my badges? He is tearing the room upside down, and his Pokemon are just standing there. Well, this is when we get the closing shot of the storyline. We get a very condescending little tee. We see the two badges, the Boulder badge and the Cascade badge. We then see this girl, Leaf, as she's holding on to them. And she says, I could have easily escaped, but when he mentioned those two badges, well, we see the sparkle, the glim from the badges, and we see her face just like light up when she sees it. And she says, there are things money just can't buy. Concluding the chapter. So that is the ending of the storyboard. Now, we're going to go on to the discussion part of it. So the first part I wanted to discuss with you guys. Well, first of all, what do you guys think about this character?
Oh, I love her. Like,
You love her?
I love.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
like anytime there's like female
Mischief.
getting over on someone else, like obviously independent and can do what they want, it's like, oh yeah, no, fucking get it, girl. So
Yes.
go steal
Yeah.
more stuff. Shit. Plus, I love thieves. Like, yeah, I like to steal. So, it's
So the part that I was saying earlier that I found kind of interesting is that in the very, very, very first episode, if you guys remember, Red is accused of being a thief. And Professor Oak is like hysterical about it, like, you Pokemon thief, this and that. Now knowing that Squirtle had been stolen, this kind of explains why Professor Oak had this like almost what's the word, irrational, almost like not irrational, almost like
I would say irrational fits. Like within reason, yes, I get it. You just had a Pokemon stolen, so he's the first person you see, so obviously you would think it was him. I still think he's a little crotchety, but there's no but to that. He's still crotchety to me.
He's definitely. I'm not disagreeing with that.
Yeah.
I just felt that this particular storyline kind of put that into perspective, and you got to understand, like, oh, it had already happened. So that's why Red was.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite little kind of like Easter eggs when I figured that out. Like, oh, okay, so
it wasn't just on his head.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's kind of cool knowing that we're being introduced to this character, but she has already had an impact.
Yeah.
In the series, she just hasn't really been shown. So when I first read her character, I fell in love with her immediately. I remember just reading and being like, oh, she's like a little thief, and she's like really sly about it. Like, she's manipulative. Like, I like her. Like, I like this character. She's really funny. I just really absolutely loved how she was. Now, the next thing I wanted to discuss was that both the rival and Leaf are, in their own ways, antagonistic to the character of Red. How do you guys see these two characters as similar, and how do you see them as being completely different? Like, what in Red, what in Leaf and in the rival do you guys see that they have in common, and how are they just different?
To me personally, one of the things that makes them the same is that, let's be honest, they at one point they've really make Red seem like a total idiot, like he really doesn't know what he's doing, right? To a certain extent, in certain situations, right?
Yeah.
So I think that that's one of the things that it's like they pull one over him, no matter the situation.
They do outsmart. Yeah.
They do outsmart him, and then that's what they have in common to me. But one of the things that they have that are completely different is that the rival is a Pokemon trainer, right? Like this dude has a goal in mind. He wants to be the very best, right? The very best Pokemon trainer, wants to fill up this Pokédex for his grandfather and stuff like that. When Leaf is more into like thievery and where am I gonna get like the quickest buck, right? Yes, she had this Squirtle and evolved into a Wartortle, but that I feel like she only has this Pokemon more as muscle, not really as I'm gonna train you and we're gonna be the best out there.
I see what you're saying. Like she can fend for herself. She just needs a little bit of insurance.
Yes.
Okay. I like that. I'd never really thought of it that way, but that actually is kind of true how you're saying.
Because if you think about it, Squirtle as it evolves into a Blastoise, that's a very like muscle type of Pokemon.
Yeah,
you know, it's a very like bodyguard type of Pokemon. So I feel like maybe when she stole it from Professor Oak's lab, she probably did see all three of them: Charmander, Squirtle, and Bulbasaur. And in her head, it probably went more of like, okay, at the end of the day, which one seems like would be the toughest to do as I need to get done. So.
Because the way that usually girl characters are treated in all kinds of 90s fiction, based on how they're portrayed, it would have made more sense to give her a Bulbasaur. So I like that they went in a completely different route for the manga series. They gave her a Squirtle because it becomes this like awesome Blastoise. So I do like that interpretation of that character. Daramu, how do you see them as different and or different?
I honestly don't have enough information because like it's very clear that when we look at the rival, we know exactly what his motives are. We know exactly where his ambitions lie. I don't know why she's stealing. I don't know why she wants to swindle people. I know she's good at it, but it's not enough for me to say that they're alike or different. Like, I don't have enough information, honestly, to make an opinion one way or the other.
Yeah. The one thing that I would say, I definitely agree with what Fleur said, that they do present themselves in a sense to be on a higher IQ ranking than Red because she totally outsmarted him the entire time. She was one step ahead of him every single interaction. And I like how when he first meets the rival knew like Mew's gonna kick my Pokemon's ass. This is where I draw the line. But Red was like, no, we can still battle it, and boom, he got told. So I do like that Red is seen as very naive and foolish in comparison to the two antagonistic characters. One thing that I was kind of surprised about, and this is only because, before reading the mangas, the only knowledge I had of this character, Leaf, was from Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green. Because that was her introduction into the video game series. She was apparently intended to be in Red, Blue, Yellow, and Green, but they discarded her from being in the games. So when they remade Gen 1, they brought her in Fire Red and Leaf Green. So I only knew her as the girl trainer. So I just thought that her and Red were going to be like really, really good friends. So when I read something, I'm like, oh no, she's not his friend. She's actually kind of like messing.
She's still his rival.
Yeah, like
she's supposed to be.
I love the fact that he has two rivals. Like he actually has two rivals, and I was not expecting that at all. So going into this and being like, oh, so he has two rivals. I like this. And she's actually really, really like cunning. I love that about her. I just
Yeah.
she was a character that I instantly fell in love with from the moment that I read her chapter. Um, does anyone have any other discussion topics they'd like to bring up?
Not at this moment.
Daramu?
So a couple things that I noticed. First one would be the Bulbasaur. So I thought it was really cool that Bulbasaur was actually allowed to evolve, because that was a good whole episode in the anime where he's like, no, I don't want my Bulbasaur to evolve. That's not what he wants. So I thought it was pretty cool to see that his Bulbasaur was allowed to evolve and that he's actually okay with letting them do what they want. I honestly had a lot of trouble figuring out where we were. Like, it wasn't until I saw the sign for Celadon City that I was like, okay, this doesn't make any sense, because in the game, you can only fight a pincer. Well, you can't even fight a pincer. You can only see a pincer at the Safari Zone. So I was like, why? You know what? It's fine. It's whatever. But even the watchtower that he's at, like, if he's going to go and fight a pincer right afterward, he would have had to have been at either watchtower right beside Saffron City. And he wasn't, obviously. So, or I'm sorry, Fuchsia City. So it's like, okay, but
Wasn't even near that.
yeah, nowhere near it. Like, he's got a whole like bicycle bridge between him and that.
But
so I thought that was pretty interesting.
Aren't you in the Celadon City? That's where Erica lives, right?
Erica lives in Celadon City, yeah.
Isn't Pinsir one of the Pokemon that you can actually like get as a prize at the casino?
I think so.
Let's see.
with
No,
a
it's
certain
Abra,
amount, I
Clefairy,
think so.
Nidorino, Dratini, Scyther, and Porygon. You can't get a Pinsir.
Damn it! I was about to like say, well, maybe
I thought
it's
you
stuck out of
could.
the casino.
No, I have it pulled up right now. You can't.
Okay.
Wait. No. Okay, so in Pokemon Red, yeah. So one version you got a Scyther, one version you got a Pinsir.
Oh, so maybe it just snuck out of the corner.
It just depends on which version you receive.
Which version he's on right now.
Exactly.
So, yeah,
wait. Which version does Pinsir appear in?
I can look it up real quick. One moment. But yeah, so like I was thinking about that, and it's like, even if you go with that, he's still not fightable. He's only able to be let's see, trade from green, blue, or yellow. So yeah, he's in green, blue, and yellow. He's not in red.
So that's why, because the girl is in this one, Trainer Blue, and we're meeting Trainer Blue. That's the reason why Pinsir's there. That's my logic.
Yeah, but like I said, you still can't fight them. You could only get them at the Safari Zone. So
yeah,
it was something I thought was worth noting. I did like the introduction of the items, because it was kind of cool, just because she's selling faulty items, and in the very next generation, items become like holdable battle items. So it was one of those things where it's like, okay, she was a revolutionary.
No, she's trying to get into the market, you know?
Yeah, which would make sense why she's in Celadon City, because there's a gym there. It's the biggest department store in the game. You have the Team Rocket hideout where, like, you know, people are trying to win different Pokemon. So if she were going to try and swindle anyone, this was the city to do it.
Yeah.
Girl knows her market.
Yeah, no, she knew her market very well. Yeah, I love that she was I'm just looking through my notes real quick. The only other thing I had was, you know, I did like that they actually introduced her in the manga, considering the first game that we got a female character in the game was Pokemon Crystal. Where you could play as Chris.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's kind of cool to see where they're pulling her from, because she ends up like coming back in all these other games. Like, even in Pokemon Masters, you can play as Leaf. Leaf is actually one of my strongest units. Like, she's able to like tear through teams pretty easily. So I really like her. And then I've always thought about, like, you know, your discussion about her name. And so like I kind of did some research on it, and I can't find anything that shows that it's one or the other. Actually, everything that I've found shows that Leaf, canonically, like, Japan will use Leaf and Green interchangeably.
Hang on.
So
Alexa, off. Sorry.
Yeah. So, you know, I was just looking into it, and like I thought that was pretty interesting. Like, they don't care one way or the other. They see Leaf and Green as the same person, essentially.
The reason why I'm so like I always call her Blue is because if you ever look at the fan art, like 90% of the fan art always gives her like a blue aesthetic, and they always give the rival a green aesthetic. If you ever look at the fan art, a lot of the fans go by like her blue and him green, and it's like all over. If you look up like Pokemon Trainer Blue or whatever, type in Pokemon Trainer Blue girl or green girl, like whatever, you'll see where the fans like really emphasize the colors of the characters. And so that's the reason why I love referring to her as Blue. But you know, a lot of people just have different views on that. I know some people call her Blue, some call her green. I call her Leaf to avoid any issues because it's just it'll get confusing. Like I know people will be confused about that, so I'm like just call her Leaf. It's easier.
Yeah, Leaf makes sense to me just because Pokemon Masters has been pretty canonically accurate, like for almost everything. They've actually stated that a lot of things that are in Masters is what is considered canon. So when she came out and it was actually labeled as Leaf, I was like, okay, you're Leaf. So
what I really liked is in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, once you beat the main storyline, you can actually battle all three trainers. Red, Red, the rival, and Leaf. Of course, they're called Red, Blue, and Green in that one. Yeah. But when I battled Red and then I battled the rival, I was like, okay, does the girl ever appear? Like, I want her. And she does. I was like, oh my God, she's actually here. And in that battle, when you're battling her, she's surrounded by blue like crystals or something, like blue rocks. And I'm like, oh, and they're like emphasizing that she's the blue character. I am so happy right now. Like, I really love that battle when you get to battle her in that game. And seeing her in like 3D animation, I was just so happy. I love Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu. Some don't. I love those games so much.
I unfortunately couldn't finish it.
I love that one.
Oh, I never even got it, so.
Well, I loved it. So, did you guys have any other notes?
I think that's it. I think that's pretty much everything that I had written down.
All right. So, I wanted to ask you guys a fun question, and I specifically wanted to wait until we were introduced to this character before I asked this question. So, whenever you're reading these chapters in your head, what or whose voice do you use to read the Red, the rival, and Leaf?
My own.
You don't use
because I haven't really. No.
Do you, Daramu?
Yeah, so I'm very mechanical. So I literally just have a generic female voice, a generic male voice, a generic child voice, and I interchange those to whatever's on the
So when I read Red's voice, I read his dialogue in Ash's voice, just because it helps me
like the Ash that was Ash for what 17 years.
Yeah. Well, no, Veronica Taylor Ash. I think they both did a great job. It's just that because, you know, we watched it when it first came out, to me, Veronica Taylor is like what I remember.
Number one Ash.
As growing up. So when I read Red's dialogue, I read it in Ash's voice. When I read the rival's dialogue, I read it in Gary's.
You read it in Gary's voice?
Yeah, Gary's
I
voice.
can see the Gary one.
Now, when I read the girl Leaf, I
actually read it in Misty's voice.
No, because there already is a Misty in the manga, so I don't read it in Misty's voice. This is a random one, but I actually read it in Teo's voice from Yu-Gi-Oh.
Really?
Yes, and I don't know why, but that's the voice that I went with for her. And
not even close.
Figure My Valentine.
Oh.
she's
oh yeah.
Mai's like a lot older than them. She's like an adult.
She's Mai's supposed to be like in her mid-20s to early 30s.
Yeah.
So those are the voices that I read this trio in, and I was just curious if you guys actually did that too, but apparently you guys don't. So it's just
no. Mine is very, very generic.
No, for me, it's the voices of Ash, Gary, and Taya. So yeah.
I mean, there's moments where I don't even read it in a voice because I get focused on like, okay, where are they? Okay, this Pokemon
Mhm.
should have been evolved already. Okay, what city
Yes.
what route should they be around? Like, I'm more focused on that than I am on their voices.
Voices.
Hmm.
Like, even with the Bulbasaur, or was it Bulbasaur? No, the Wartortle. Like, I was zooming in on his Pokedex entry more than like giving them voices.
It just emphasizes for me their like, because if I'm reading like like for example when she says I've been really bad and it's about to get worse, and I read that like in Tayo's voice, it's satisfying to me, but that's just me. All right, so if you guys are watching this on YouTube, why don't you comment whose voices you read them in, because apparently I'm alone on this one. I waited 11 episodes to ask that just to get those
Mm-mm.
all right, so
I'm glad this is an immersive experience for you.
there you go. Oh, thank you. So now we're going on to the standout moments. I will go first on this one. So my standout moment is actually when, what page is, oh, here we go. It is on, does the page have a number? It does not have a number. So basically it's the one where she pushes Red and then she commands Wartortle to attack Red. That power pose where she's like taking charge as a trainer and Wartortle's attacking, it just gave me chills. I just love like the body chemistry right there. Like she's like boom, like she's in charge and she's like ready to battle. So because I also think this is the well, no, we saw Misty, but this is the first time that we get to see a girl trainer who doesn't like hit a wall and like fall down. Like no, like she's actually one-upping Red constantly, where I felt like with Misty it was just kind of like they were toning her down a bit. But it was just cool for me to see this character, the character of Leaf, like actually be in charge and like catty and whatever. But that scene, just the pose that they gave her to me was really, really cool. What are your guys' standout moments?
So go ahead, Daramu.
Okay. So mine would be on page 18. I really like that he told Snorlax to punch at this lady. Like, there's just something about, like, it wasn't, hey, punch the Wartortle. No, mega punch, like, at her, or
And if she dodges,
the ground
she
around
dodges.
her. Like, I just love that they are very smart. It's like, you know what? I don't have to knock out the Pokemon. I have to knock out the trainer. And they have consistently fought each other instead of the Pokemon. Like, it's like they may fight each other every once in a while, but they are not afraid to like fight the trainer.
And Mega Punch, that is an attack from Gen 1, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
It is. Okay. I wasn't sure if that was like one of those like Z moves or something that we pick up on in like when we go back and we're like, oh, that's a futuristic thing that they did there. So that legitimately is like a Gen 1 attack.
Yeah, it's a TM in Gen 1, and then I think like certain Pokemon can learn it. Hitmonchan comes to mind. So yeah, it's definitely a move that was from Gen 1.
Okay. Yeah, I do like that part. I also like the animation of when she's falling down. I just love that image.
Yeah.
It reminds me.
It confused me more because Celadon City doesn't have any tunnels.
Right?
So
where did she fall to?
What void did she go into? But you know what?
It reminded me of Digimon, the episode where Ty and Izzy are trying to get pills for Kari because she's sick. I know Fleur knows what I'm talking about.
Yes.
And
Homegirl was literally, she wasn't just sick. She was legit dying.
yeah, like she had a fever and she
like she had a fever of like 104.
Remember that scene when they get back to where they are to save them and Machine Dramon like attacks the city and they show all of them falling like to their death,
Yeah.
I guess. That's what that animation reminded me of. I don't know why. I thought it was very reminiscing of that. Fleur, what's your standout moment?
So my standout moment is probably on page 9 when we first see her, see Leaf. And let me just say one thing. When she's a vendor, right? She's a vendor, so to speak, quote unquote. If you're a vendor, some of the things that she was advertising, according to the pictures, there's clearly a needle and clearly and clearly a rare candy, right? The rare candy, I understand, you can go ahead and level up your Pokemon, but what does the needle have to do with anything?
I thought you were gonna say like a needle and a rock candy.
Like,
Whoa.
even if that, no,
I didn't catch that the first time.
Exactly. I mean,
she's a dealer, you guys.
I don't know what she's selling, but clearly Red is buying. So
I'm sorry, someone at the door. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
So she's like straight up a dealer.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And out of all the things that she brought out to the table, if you're advertising this rare candy, which is an actual item that you can go ahead and give your Pokemon to go ahead and level it up just a little bit faster, look a little cheap, why wouldn't you have it in your arsenal of propaganda, right? And then some of the items that if you see on page 9, not just the arrow, but that little thing that looks like handcuffs with little spikes coming out of it, total like emo thing. I'm not gonna lie to you, almost, some of those items some of those items look like the items that are used by some of the Yu-Gi-Oh monsters.
They do. Like, oh my god, they do. Like the armor things that like boost up the
yes. Like I'm pretty sure I've seen one of those like those little magnet things have like the arrows, and Yugi using like the magnet guy like attaching it to like the arrow or whatever to give it a booster or whatever. I've never really played Yu-Gi-Oh! Let me just say that. I've only ever seen like a couple of cartoons. But that's what it looks like.
So there's a possibility that I thought that at some point, and subconsciously that's the reason why I voice her in my head as Taya. That's a possibility. Maybe I might have subconsciously made a connection at some point.
Yeah, but that was my kind of moment. You know, advertise like some of your arsenal looks like it's in a different manga. You know, like Yu-Gi-Oh. So,
all right, yeah, I agree with that. All right, so now we're moving on to the trivia. Now, for this one, there really isn't a lot of trivia. There's like only one thing I found. And that the trivia is that the English title of this round is based on water war. Now, I personally don't know what a water war is. Do either
a water balloon fight?
All I saw in the trivia was that
that's my guess.
I thought it was like a movie title, so I was Googling this, like, is this a movie? And I couldn't find anything. So, I mean, I guess it's just letting us know what it's a pun for, but I don't know what that thing actually is. So, kind of a lackluster trivia for this one.
What is water war?
I looked at it.
Yeah, no, that is a new one on me. Like,
I was
had quote unquote water wars with my brother in the pool, but he always lost, so we can't really call them wars. So
that one was lost on me. I was like, you know what, listeners, if you're on our YouTube channel and you know what a water war is, just comment it. Let us know what it means. Okay, so now we're moving on to predictions and hopeful storylines. Now, when I was reading this for the first time, I wanted to see. Well, first of all, I loved seeing how Red and the rival went from enemies to allies, not friends, allies. I wanted to see how Red and Leaf were going to go from, what are they? They're not enemies. They're not nemesis. They're
enemies.
Are they enemies though? Because Red and the rival straight up both had a dislike.
Wouldn't that be your enemy if you get bamboozled out of like
Yes,
$6,000?
yes, but my thing is, Red and the rival both disliked each other. Red and Leaf, he dislikes her. She doesn't care for him. She just used him. Like she's
Rivalries don't have to be two ways.
you think?
True.
Oh no, I know.
So I wanted to see like how are they going to go from being opponents? We'll go with that. How are they going to go from being opponents to being friends? Like I wanted to see that relationship truly develop. So that from when I was reading this, that's what I wanted. Based on what you guys have seen as of this point, what storylines are you guys hoping happen, or what do you guys want to see?
Besides the gym like him getting gym badges, which of course is going to happen, at least some type of tournament just to kind of get an idea of his development.
Okay. Like the Indigo
because yes, like an Indigo League. Yes, you have your progress from gym to gym, but wouldn't you also want to battle other trainers that you more than likely wouldn't be exposed to at a gym? Because when you think about it, at a gym, it's like a specific type, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I know right now we're not in like, what is it? Dual. My mind is gone at this moment. Like it's just straightforward. Okay, you're a fire Pokemon. You're a grass Pokemon. There's no like double. What is it called? My mind is literally just.
It's okay. It'll come back.
I can't find the word. But it's just him getting this experience of.
No, I get.
Okay, let me just find somebody else. Like just get a little bit more experience of. Yes, like let's say each gym is a certain level, right? Like, yeah. You get to level Pokemon with level 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever. But these will probably just be like random trainers that you don't know what level it is, right? So it's really going to go ahead and challenge you to either defeat it or lose with dignity.
And kind of like expanding the universe a little bit more, so it's not so just like the regular characters. No,
one trail.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I do agree with that. Daramu?
Just because I know where he's at now. I want to see him fight Erica. On paper, his team shouldn't win, but I just want to see how he does. So,
if Ash can,
that is true. Yeah,
if Ash can win,
yeah, because his current team,
Ash can win, Red can win.
Yeah, like Pikachu shouldn't do anything against this gym.
Well,
Ivysaur shouldn't.
Poliwrath does know Ice Beam.
That's the only thing it has, but it's still weak to them. So if he's not over leveled, then they should still potentially outspeed him, in which case they should still technically one-shot him. So the only thing that he really has is that Snorlax, but even at the beginning, or somewhere in this one, he said that his Snorlax is under leveled.
It's strong. Yeah, it's not strong. He says, I know this one's not strong.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, I mean, I want to see him kind of get raffle stomped. So all right. I would love when children get beat up. So like just beat this child.
That could be so misconstrued. All right, let's see. All right, so do you guys remember the clue that I sent you guys last time for this chapter?
No.
Here, I'll send it to you guys again. Hang on.
There was a lot of time between now and then.
It's been a while. Yes, it's been a while. I'm sending it to the group chat right now. This was the clue that I gave at the ending of the last recording, and I want you guys to tell me if what your opinion on that clue is now that you've actually seen or read this chapter.
I think it kind of matches with what I thought. Like, I was pretty sure that it was going to be like, one moment. Fleur, go ahead. I'm going to calm my dog down.
Okay. Fleur?
So it's like, now it's like, in that picture, she's teasing him.
Yeah.
Right? Like teasing him, like, haha, he's so bothered by it. It's a big clue as to what the chapter is going to be bringing to the table, and also what the relationship is going to be moving forward.
Yeah, because she's pretty much fish hooking him, and he's got that like uncomfortable look on
Yeah,
him.
exactly. Like annoyed, like leave me alone type of situation. Yeah.
So do you guys think that was a good clue as to what the chapter was going to be about?
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes you don't really notice how good of a clue it is until after you've read the chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For that one specifically, like when I remember when I saw it, the most I could get from that is like, oh no, she's gonna be like a comedic relief character, and that's what I think she's gonna remain. Like,
yeah. All right. So now I'm sending you guys the clue for the next chapter, and I want you guys to tell me, just based on this, what you think it's going to be about.
And not to cut it short. Oh wow. Okay. And not to cut it short, but I will have to leave here in like 5 to 10 minutes.
Oh, that's fine. We're almost done with Act 1 anyways.
Okay.
Yeah.
So based off of that, I guess they're gonna do a heist together.
Okay.
Or it will be a heist, but one of them is an involuntary accomplice, if you will. Like it's more of like a drag than a volunteer type of situation.
So for our listeners, basically it's an image of Leaf. She's holding on to a Jigglypuff. Jigglypuff is blown up like a balloon. I guess they're hovering, and she is holding on to Red. And it just seems like she's saving him or protecting him or working with him.
I feel like protecting or saving is a little too strong there. It's more of like, if you look at his face,
yeah,
it's like she looks mischievous and he looks like fuck.
All right, then I guess we're gonna see where that one leads to. Okay, so that concludes Act 1. Fleur, if you need to log off, you may go ahead and do so at this moment.
Okay, but I did have my my titles ready.
Okay.
I don't know if you wanted to add those or
okay.
Or what did you want to do?
Then let's just do the titles, and then we'll just say that you have to leave afterwards. Okay. All right, and go.
Okay.
All right, so now we're on to Act 2. And Fleur is having to leave as soon as we do the titles. So we're going to let Fleur go first. What is your Harry Potter title?
My Harry Potter one is Red and the Girl Thief.
Okay.
Just very simple, very to the point at that one.
All right. For that one, I went with Trainer Red and the Sly Saleswoman.
Ooh, okay.
Daramu, what did you get for the Harry Potter?
Trainer Red and the Very Important Life Lesson.
Oh.
Okay. All right, let me just type these down. Hang on. Life lesson. Okay, now we're going on to the Friends. All right, Fleur, what did you get for Friends?
Very simple. The one with the starter illusions.
Oh, I like that. The one with the because we do see all three in their own.
Mm-hmm.
We see Ivysaur, Wartortle, and then we see like a glimpse of Charmeleon. Yeah, the one with starter evolutions, right?
Yes.
All right, Daramu, what did you get for Friends?
The one with the sticky fingers.
Okay.
I think I see a pattern there.
Trust me, it gets better.
I just said
I like that one. Sticky fingers.
I just said the one with Trainer Blue or Leaf, whatever you call her, or Green, whatever you guys want to call her.
Mm-hmm.
Hannah Montana. I'll go first on this one. I went with
Okay.
Look What You Made Leaf Do, as in Look What You Made
Oh.
Me Do by Taylor Swift.
Oh. Okay.
And that I think that was I think it's
that's a
fun.
good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went with a basic Hannah Montana title, The Green Side of Me,
She has
instead of The Other Side of Me.
She does.
Yeah.
It's so sad that I actually knew that. All right, Daramu, what did you get for song title?
I kept mine simple. Take the Money and Run by the Steve Mill Band.
Okay, that's a good
Oh,
one.
okay.
The money. Yeah. I think we all actually have a really good song one for this one. Like all three are stellar.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
like seriously, like usually there's like a standout for each category. This one's they're all three are pretty good. All right, now for the
Yes.
girl, the movie titles. I went with Heartbreaker from the movie Heartbreakers. So I just took off
Oh.
I made her the Heartbreaker.
Oh.
Have you guys seen that movie?
I've seen the show. Oh no, that's Heartstopper.
No, Heartbreakers.
Oh, I have not.
It's where the mother and daughter, they're like con artists, and everything they do, they get for free. So like they go to a hotel, the daughter fakes that she falls down, but it's just to get a free room that night.
Mm.
They're con artists.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, this kind of fits her. I'm gonna call it Heartbreaker.
Okay.
What did you get, Flare?
I got Green, The Way of Thieves. I kind of went based off of Avatar, The Way of Water, because I just recently saw that. That was the only movie I've been able to think about recently, so that's what I went with.
And that adds to when was this episode recorded? During the second Avatar movie. All right, Jerami, what did you get for the title?
Ocean's Dose.
You know what's funny? I almost went with an Ocean's 11 reference. I almost did. I seriously almost did. But then I just thought of Heartbreak. I was like, oh no, that was a little bit better. For me, Ocean Dose.
Yeah.
All right. We got our titles. And as always, our listeners, you would vote on which title is the best. Thank you, Flair, for being here with us. And
absolutely. I'll catch y'all on the next one.
Bye.
All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye. Take care.
Bye. You too. Bye.
All right, Daramu. So now we're moving on to Did You Catch That? Close your eyes, please.
Okay.
All right. When Red is putting on all of the ridiculous gear onto Pikachu, what acronym was on Pikachu's necklace?
TM.
You got it. Yeah, that was an easy one because TM actually means something.
Yeah, that's the only reason it stood out.
Yeah, I know. All right, you got it. You got it. Did you have one for me or no?
Did you catch that? No, I honestly didn't.
It's okay.
I forgot about that.
It's not a big deal. All right, so now we're moving on to Who's That Pokemon. And remember, for Who's That Pokemon, you get what was it? It was 10 guesses, right?
10 I believe questions. That's what it was, right?
10 questions, 10 guesses. If you're able to guess who it is, then you win. But if you don't guess it, I win. So whenever you're ready.
Is it a dual type?
You know what? I believe it is. Let me just pull it up on my phone to double check. Lickitung. No, I didn't just do that. I actually wanted to see your face when I did that.
Please tell me we didn't just do that.
Like, it is not a dual type. No,
it's not a dual type. Does it evolve?
Don't forget your free guess.
Oh, okay. So, is it a dual type? And you said no.
Correct. And I'm entering it in the chat.
Okay.
Box.
Snorlax.
It is not Snorlax. No.
Okay. Does it evolve?
It does evolve. Yes.
It does evolve. Does it evolve? Squirtle.
It is not Squirtle, but I can see why you guessed Squirtle.
Okay. Does it evolve 2 times?
No. No. You mean like, does it have like a 3-stage evolution? No.
Correct. Okay. So it does not have a 3-stage evolution. And it does not evolve?
No, it does evolve.
Okay, it's okay.
So it's a 2-stage evolution.
2-stage evolution and it evolves.
Yes.
And not trying to cheat. For does it evolve, we are keeping it within the parameters of
Generation
the
1,
game.
yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, it's
All
generation.
right, so does it evolve? Yes. It's not a 3-stage, so does it evolve? Ponyta?
It's not Ponyta, no.
Okay.
Hang on. I'm typing that in to the chat box. Okay. So you've asked 3 questions. So you've got 7 more.
Okay, so is it a dual type? No. Does it evolve? Yes. Does it have a 3-stage evolution? No. Is it one of the, or is its type one of the gym leaders types?
From the Kanto region?
Correct.
Yes.
Yes, it is. Okay.
Okay. And you get 1 guess with that one.
Is it Growlithe?
No, it's not Growlithe.
Okay. A lot of Mews. No evolution stage. Now that I think about it. Okay. Let's see. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 questions. Okay, and you said it's one of the 8 gym types. Is it an electric type?
It's not electric, no.
Okay. Starmie? Oh no, I'm sorry. Staryu.
I'll be nice and say it's neither.
Neither? Okay. Well, I mean, it has to be an unevolved because you've already confirmed that it does evolve.
Yes.
Okay. So it couldn't be Starmie no matter what. All right. So
just to recap, because we're halfway there. Is it a dual type? No. Does it evolve? Yes. Does it have a 3-stage evolution? No. Is it a type one of the 8 Kanto gym leaders has? Yes. Is it electric? No.
okay. It can't be grass because everything this generation was grass and poison except for Tangela.
You said it can't be grass because of what?
It can't be grass because they're all dual type.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
it can't be grass. It can't be Brock because all of his were rock and ground. Can't be Misty. She only had Staryus, Starmie's. He said it's not electric, so that rules out Surge completely. Erica had Kadabras and Alakazams. I don't think she had a Drowsy. Which types was that just now? That was fire, because I've already done all of Blaine's, because he only had Ponytas and Growlithe, and a Magmar in yellow. And then, okay, so we've done fire. Ground. Let's see. Ground would be Giovanni. No, but Rhyhorn's ground and rock. Poison. I think he's pure poison. Is one of the types, or because they can't.
Well, keep in mind, it's not a dual type.
Is the type poison?
Yeah, it is poison.
Okay.
And then you get one guess.
Nidoran male?
No.
Okay, so it is poison.
But keep in mind that Nidoran male is
part of a 3-stage evolution. Yeah, that's fine. Is it one of Koga's Pokemon?
You know what? I'm actually not even sure if Koga has this one. Let me double check that. Hang on. I mean, hang on. Pokemon Koga. That's actually a pretty good question because I'm not entirely sure.
So it would be coughing, muck, coughing, or wheezing.
I'm going to go with no.
No, it's not one of the ones he uses in the game?
No, it's not.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Is it Ekans?
It is Ekans. You got it. And Ekans, hang on, because I had it pulled up. I don't know if you can see it.
Yay. Okay, cool.
And I wasn't sure because I'm like, he has an Arbok that got sliced, so he had to have had an Ekans at some point, but he's going by the game, so I was not sure. But yeah, he got it right.
No, my brain is strictly on the game, so yeah. Okay, cool.
You guessed good job. 8 questions. Yeah, thank you. So, since you win, that means that you give me, because Flair's not here, you give me 2 suggestions of who I should do the recap for next episode. Now, the only thing I will ask is no Pokemon, please. I will do any character's voice, just no Pokemon. I do not like doing Pokemon's voices.
That's fair. Okay. Well, obviously, Leaf, Green, like she has to be one of the options.
Okay.
Do they have to be in this panel?
No, it could be any character that we've already met in any previous chapter.
Okay. I would say her or Misty.
Misty?
Keep that water theme going.
Okay. Yeah. So Leaf or Misty. All right. I will work on one of those. It'll be fun revealing who I do. Now we're moving on to the rating. So for this one, the plot, I give it a neutral. The script, I give it a neutral. The character development, I give it a good, because I thought that her character was very well introduced. The obstacle, I give it a good, because it was actually really entertaining. And overall, I give it a good. So this one for me is a 4 out of 5. I give it a 4 out of 5 mattresses dumped out on the ocean. Because she thought Snorlax was a mattress.
Okay, so for this one, plot, I would say good. Script, I would say probably neutral. Character development, probably neutral. Obstacle would be a 1, and overall I'd say 1. So it's going to be 4 also.
4.
So I would say 4 mega punches to children.
I love how you just have to take it that one step darker. Mega. I'm gonna put mega punches. What do you call it?
Dot dot dot.
No, not dot dot dot. Like the little like they look like C's. I can't think of what they're called right now. Anyways,
yeah, 4 mega punches to children. That's fine.
4 mega punches to children. All right, great. And now we're moving on to Act 3. All right, Act 3. So for this one, we're not doing a debate. And we're really not doing much of a lore because there really wasn't much of us to go on. Now, he just arrived to Celadon City, so we can always expand on that a little bit more in the next chapter.
Yeah.
So the only thing that we're talking about for this one is politics. What I want to talk about was items affect Pokemon. Do you think these items have some sort of a magic on them, or is it a scientific explanation as to why they affect Pokemon? Now, what I mean by that is certain items affect certain Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like how the stones affect Eevee, or like certain things only affect certain Pokemon. Now, the thing is, some of these items are actually man-made. So my question is, do you think that they're using science to make these items work, or is it part of a conspiracy where the government has access to like extraterrestrial, or what do you call that Pokemon? EGM?
Yeah.
LGM?
I would say it's science.
You would say it's science?
I would 100% say it's science, especially in this game, because there's a whole building devoted to science that is trying to figure out, like, they actually have, like, that's where you find like that's where you find your Master Ball. That's where they give you the Swift Scope. Like, yeah, no, like, it would definitely be science.
Because, like, for me, the Sylph Scope, for example, I mean, can you really put hunting ghost Pokemon as a classification of science?
Oh, of course. Because Gengar specifically, like, it says in its Pokedex information that when it's by you, the air gets colder. So if you create a device that's able to detect drastic changes in the temperature, that's science.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you're looking for something like for ghosts, because at the time, the only ghosts in this game were Ghastly's, Haunters, and Gengars, yeah, all you would need something that was drastically monitoring temperature.
Yeah. Damn, I feel like this would have been better for a debate. Like, this one would have gotten us heated. Yeah, because I do kind of feel like a lot of times there are certain items to me. For example, the one that I just think is kind of weird is the rare candy.
Okay.
I know that a rare candy, it could just be, human fabricated to level them up. But I always feel like, okay, but what ingredients are they putting into this rare candy that allows a Pokemon to evolve? And if such an ingredient exists, why are Pokemon not having constant access to it? Why are they not able to like just eat berries and like, oh, they level up? I kind of get the feeling like maybe there is some kind of a conspiracy going on in the Pokemon universe where certain people of power have access to these items, have access to these recipes. It's kind of like how they believe that Area 51 houses a lot of extraterrestrial technology.
Mm-hmm.
So part of me wonders if like maybe in the Pokemon universe there's a location that houses some kind of an unknown force that allows them to make things such as a rare candy that levels up a Pokemon. Because what's always been I understand this is more of a game mechanic, but there is still some interesting logic behind it. Why is it that rare candies they don't like mass produce them? Why are they in such limited quantity?
So to kind of go back up for what you were talking about, the magical items versus science man-made ones. So yeah, like if a Thunderstone interacts with a Pikachu, it causes it to evolve.
Yeah. Oh, your audio.
Yeah, no, I was waiting on my dog. So yeah, so
Okay.
like if a Pikachu interacts with a Raichu, it evolve, or if a Thunderstone interacts with a Pikachu, it causes it to evolve. That's a natural occurrence. Like if he happens to stumble across one, he would evolve. So that's something that you would actually have happen in nature. But for rare candies, maybe it's just like, a specific set of ingredients, and that's how you're getting rare candies. I mean, it's the same thing as glass. Glass isn't naturally made, but if I take a fire to sand, here we are. So, if you're able to take the ingredients and actually fabricate and manufacture these things, that's where you're getting it. If you take Scarlet and Violet, for example, that's where the Herba Mysticas are coming into play. Like, these are ingredients that are not readily available together, but you can take them, add them together, and get great effects. So, no, I definitely think that there's a clear difference between science and, magic in this game. Like, there's certain things that work on a magical level and certain things that don't. But as far as held items go, I want to say almost all of those are science.
Okay.
Because,
Okay.
like, from the competitive standpoint, like if I put padded gloves on my Pokemon, that protects them from rough skin, iron thorns, things like that. If I put a scope lens on my Pokemon, they suddenly have a chance to get crits better. There's no magic in that. That's straight up science.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah. So that's
Yeah.
my thoughts on it.
It's a good argument. Because my thing is like with the rare candies, for example, and I go back to those because that's really the one that always kind of like gets me. So the rare candies, it's kind of like, how can I put it?
Well, okay, so think about it like this. If I give my Pokemon a protein, its attack stat goes up, right?
Right. Yes.
But proteins are not readily available in the wild, right?
Correct.
Okay, and same thing goes for iron, carbos, zinc, all of those. So those are things that were man-made. So they were man-made so that way your Pokemon stats will go up. So rare candy is just an extension of that. Like we can even simplify it to the extent of if you put one of each of those together, that's how you get a rare candy. Like I don't know how they make rare candies, but they've never actually talked about it or anything. But obviously someone's doing it, and it's so that way you can alter your Pokemon the same way you're doing with proteins, iron, zinc, and carbos.
So I know that you, with modern Pokemon, keep up more so with the anime than either me or Fleur do. Have they talked about rare candies? Because I know that at one point, didn't Ash have like a Gligar or something, and he used the actual item to evolve it, like you do in the video games?
Yeah. Um, don't quote me on anything for the anime. Like I will not stand by my own words. But as far as any of that goes, I don't recall them ever talking about like rare candies or anything. Like you've seen certain Pokemon like wear a scarf or something like that, and those things like do help like with certain stats. But as far as like you know enhancement items, yeah, no, they've never really touched base on it.
Okay, I was just wondering if they had at one point. Because I do think it's kind of interesting. Because I know, like, what I was gonna say, an example is kind of how it's always been believed that, not always, but I've heard like this conspiracy theory that people actually have the resources to completely exterminate pests like cockroaches, but they will intentionally not do it because they can continue to sell products to kill them. Kind of like how they have cures for certain diseases, but they're not going to release the cures because as of right now, they're profiting
It's
so much off of it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So I
I
was
don't see how that ties into the rare candy because you can't buy them anywhere.
Well, you can actually if you have enough points at certain of the events in certain of the games, like, but it's always like a ridiculously high number of points that you need, like 48 something points, and you can only
Yeah.
get like 2 points per like a tournament or something.
I can't think of any that actually let you buy rare candy.
There was one. I remember there was one game where you could actually, it's several games, but it's like you can only, it was, I want to say it was Diamond and Pearl, where you, or Black and White. It was one of those where you did like a battle tournament inside this building. And like the higher you went, the more points you would gain because of it. And you could exchange the points for prizes. And one of the prizes was rare candy, but the rare candy was like freaking expensive. Like you had to do the tournament multiple times to even buy one rare candy. So my thing was, I'm wondering if like in the Pokemon universe, products like the rare candy are created and they're not mass produced simply because it's more profitable for them to have Pokemon trainers attend these tournaments and like draw attention.
Well,
And
even if that were the case, it just furthers the notion that they aren't magical and that they are scientifically made.
the items,
Yes. Because if they're gatekeeping it behind these tournaments and whatnot, they're the ones mass producing it and they're the ones making it. So therefore, it would still be science.
but they might be mass producing them using some sort of a unknown substance that is not available to the public. I mean, we already. I mean, I know that we've talked about this before in a previous episode about aliens in the Pokemon universe. How the Moonstone, for example, that's not an Earth thing. That is straight from outer space. And I know that we've talked about how Clefairy and Jigglypuff and Staryu are Pokemon that are believed to be alien. And the same
Right.
goes with the Pokemon LGM, which when I discovered what LGM stood for, I loved it, Little Green Men. So I just was wondering if maybe it goes even deeper in how there just might be resources that are not openly available to the public, and the only way that they are available is by making trainers having to participate in these tournaments that draw in large crowds, therefore boosting the economy. And that's kind of like what I was thinking about that.
Just because of how few games have actually had rare candies as a form of currency, I would still say that it's man-made and that some people are just haphazardly dropping them.
All right. So we're going to have to drop this political debate and we're going to have to pick it up as an actual debate in a future episode. Because I think we actually have enough to go on. And we're going to you're going to argue that it's man-made. I'm going to argue that it's that there's something else, because I really think there's enough there for a debate at one point.
My only thing is debates are based off of facts, and they've never actually told you how a rare candy is made or how they're distributed. So it's really hard to say that they're gatekeeping and that they're mass producing them this way when we don't even know how they're actually made.
Well, that actually makes the debate even better, because there's no right or wrong answer. It's a legit debate of who has it, of like who makes the better argument.
Okay. I mean, I'll still have it. I just don't think it's very founded.
Well, it's going to be a future debate, so I'm writing that one down right now.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you to all of our listeners. And actually, it's great to be back. I actually really enjoy the podcasts. During the break, what I did what I sought out to do, which was to just work on social media. I was working on it nonstop, and I was fortunate to actually have a semi-viral video on TikTok, which I was just like, what? And I say semi-viral because I got over like 280,000 views on it, which I was just like, oh wow. And that one TikTok alone got me a decent number of followers to where I was able to do a live streaming on Christmas, which was a lot of fun. And for anyone, all the people that attended the live streaming, it was a lot of fun. We talked Pokemon, we talked Christmas. It was a really really fun thing to do. And I would like to eventually do more live streamings with the fans on TikTok, just to kind of like talk about Pokemon politics here and there. One of the main things we were talking about on that streaming thing was that Ash was leaving, and how some people were really upset about that, and how I was just kind of like, okay. I thought he left a long time ago, but okay. I just don't care for Ash. All right. Well, then thank you, Daramu. And I will go ahead and just send you guys the story arcs for the next episode. And officially, as of today, we are back on with book 2.
Cool. Sounds good. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Well, good night.
Have a good night.
Bye. Thank you, trainers, for listening to our Pokemon Canon podcast, where we review the Pokemon manga. If you're listening to this on our podcast channel, don't forget to leave a 5-star rating and review. If you're listening to this on our YouTube channel, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Help Pokemon Canon grow and reach a wider audience. We appreciate all your support. This has been your host, SirSerrato.
Hi, Daramu.
And of course is Fleur.
Thank you to all of our listeners.
Bye.
Bye.